Okay, business is exactly the same. The more money you leave in the account, guess what? Everyone's going to get paid except you. And you're going to be like the little dog waiting for the crumbs to fall out off the table. You're not going to get paid. It's very hard. So I try and get people to understand that you've got to pay yourself first, not last. In business, you must pay yourself first. You're always going to pay the creditors. You're going to make it happen. You're always going to pay your wages. You're going to make it happen. You'll collect money, or you'll hold that order, or you'll do something to make it happen. But you've got to build yourself first. So what I say is, let's say this is your company over here. Let's set up a Me account. Me account is separate. I usually use ING, and it links in with your main business account, and you can transfer money back and forth. Okay. So if I get some good dollars that come in for the month, I am going to move it to my Me account. And the rich get richer because they take 10 to 30% of their bottom line, what they earn, and they invest it in what? What do they invest it in? Appreciating. Anything else? Can I make sure I don't hit anything? Appreciating property. And look for a bit more. Appreciating cash flow. Appreciating cash flow assets. Don't forget that. Appreciating cash flow assets, and I'll explain it. So when I have a good month, I've worked my funds off this month, I've made some money, it's in the account, I'm going to take 10 to 30%, and I'm just going to move it over here, just to make me feel a little bit better. Still not mine, it belongs to my company. But I'm going to sit it there, and maybe if I run my business a little bit more efficient for me, maybe I can take it out. If not, it has to go back. And when it goes back, I crack the wobbles. You'll see me with the war paint on. If I've got to put that back, because I expect that to come to me. So I'm a sore loser. Now, if it gets into the Me account, I use it to pay dividends to clients. And then they can do some exciting things with it. Paying their home loan off, paying money into their superannuation. God forbid, business owners paying money into their superannuation. Buying cash flow appreciating assets. Now there's a difference, I'll come into that. So does everyone understand that? The cost of a Me account is? Zero. And if you say to me, Sofra, you don't know what you're talking about, you close it all down and it won't cost you anything. But it's about a mindset, because money is an idea and how you go about using that money. You know, so please don't forget that. You need to, it's how much you earn, bottom line, whether you're a wage earner or a business owner, and what you do with it. Take 10%. 10% is easy. 10% and do something positive. And that will get you a financial freedom. And I'll show you an example later. Now, leveraging, using, this is what the rich do. They use other people's time and they use other people's money. How long would it take you to save 100 grand?
All your life.
A long time. But if your report card is good, if you do the right things and you think like a banker, you've got to think like a banker. You go to the bank will give you 100 grand pretty much the next day, hopefully, next week. You then use that money to make money. And I'll show you how the rich recycle, it sounds illegal, recycle their capital. Remember I said they put their capital on the table and then they recycle. So the other thing they do is they throw the monkey onto someone else's back. So how many of us have debt that we pay off ourselves? Me, number one. I'm paying that debt off. But if I have an investment property, I throw the monkey on someone else's back, they're going to pay that debt off for me for the next 20 odd years. And off I go with my life, and I'll show you how that works. So the wealthy experts are transferring debt to someone else. I pick on the farmers a little bit with this, and I'll use a couple of examples. They recycle their capital, so they don't go and, they might save their first bit of money, put it into a venture, get it back off the table as quick as possible and go on to their next venture. And I'll show you how they do that. And the next thing they do is take advantage of loopholes in the tax system. That's what I love. Okay, that's what I do for clients day in, day out. Kerry Packer said to you, you need your head read if you're not taking advantage of the Australian tax system, the loopholes in the Australian tax system. You are bonkers. Okay, how many people on wages are doing that? Not many. They come to us with a $300 receipt. Can you claim my laundry for me? No worries. That'll give you $50. But what are you doing to get that other 30% of your wage back? Just quickly on Blueprint. I've got a little boy and little girl. One's got curly hair, one's got straight hair, one's got dark skin, they're completely opposite. One spends every cent that you give her. The little boy saves every cent. I think it's in their blueprint. I really do. The little girl takes after the mother. There's no doubt about it. I'm trying to change her blueprint. I try and set up savings plans for it, and they go. Your blueprint and the way you think about money is crucial. Then a lot of people say to me, I'm not good with money. I didn't come from money. Money's the root of all evil. You've all heard it. The way your internal speak. It might be because your parents weren't good with money, or that's what you're seeing, or a lot of people say, I'm not educated enough to deal with it. And I'll say to them, look, if you've got money problems, it's not because you're not educated. It's probably because you're spending more than what you're earning. How about that? Think about that for a minute. So there's only two ways we can fix this. We either drop what you're spending and find out where the leaks are, or we increase the income. What happens when you increase the income in a lot of cases if you've got bad habits? Quality of life goes up, more bad habits come into it, and you'll see them. You'll see, I call them the Joneses. The Joneses spend money they don't have on things they can't afford to impress people they don't like. They'll go and buy their toys and you'll scratch the surface and there's no foundations. There's nothing. So the wealthy, they still like buying toys, there's no doubt about it. But they'll go and buy an asset first to pay for the toy. See the difference? They'll go and buy an asset. If they want to go and buy a Porsche, they'll buy an asset that will pay for the Porsche. Does that make sense? They won't go and buy the Porsche straight away on finance. It's about delaying that instant gratification. But people can't delay the instant gratification because they want it when? Now. No deposit down, 24 months free, give it to me now. So if you can think like that, if it's about your blueprint, and if we can help you think about the way you're going about your business, we can fix the leaks. The wealthy, a lot of people think that saving is safe and investing is risky. The wealthy think saving is risky and investing is safe. Because you can't make money leaving. You put the money in the bank, what do you get if you're lucky? Has anyone got money invested? 3%. How come we're still paying 19 cents on credit cards anyway? 90%. Has anyone answer that? Has anyone got a credit card? You're getting 3% of the money you've invested, but you're paying 19 cents. A bit of a gap there. They haven't closed it. If you get 3%, the tax man's going to take 1%. They're getting 2%. Inflation is 3%, so you're going backwards at 1 million miles an hour. So savings is the riskiest thing that you can possibly do. So you've got to get a good, you get your criteria right. You might have to get a little bit financially savvy, and whether it's reading a good book, getting a mentor, whatever the case may be, get the recipe down pat. And then get ready to invest. You've got to follow the recipes, like my cakes. It's probably cakes, they come in all sorts of shapes. But if you follow a good recipe, you will hopefully come up with the same result, good result. I just want to spend a minute on, can anyone tell me what an asset is? An asset. Just put definition of an asset. One bite, got a choppy here, time out, or I can give you a boost if you're feeling a bit hot. It is hot in here actually.
So an asset's always property and houses.
Sorry?
An asset for me is property, house, investment. The liability is the likes of the car, like all up cars or something, they're more the
Good, I
liability.
reckon it's worth a choppy. I want to take someone out if I. Oh, good shot. You said a house, did you mean your house?
Probably more of an investment house.
Okay. Because your house is an asset, isn't it? Only to you. Well, your bank's telling you it's an asset, but how much money does it put in your pocket? It probably takes money out of your pocket. So I'm going to change the definition of an asset. How about we say an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, and it's not an asset if it takes money out of your pocket. So I've got a number of blocks of land. I thought, when I was young, I thought, I'm just going to buy this land because that's investing. How much money is it put in my pocket? I can slash it, don't I, Liz? Slash the grass notice, rates notice, insurance, fix the fence. There's weeds come up, I've got a fine from the council on the capital. How much money is it put in my pocket? Is it an asset under my definition? Okay. Most people will say, I feel comfortable investing in what I know. I'm going to buy that ute, and I'm just trying to define, I'm not trying to have a go at anyone, because we all need assets to run our business. I'm going to buy that ute. I spend thousands and thousands of dollars a year on computers that we chuck out the next year, so that makes me feel really nice. I need to buy that ute, I need to buy that tractor, I need to buy, but as long as you understand it's an asset when you talk to the accountant and probably the bank. But as far as putting money in your pocket, it does zip. And I call it a self-grinding asset. Because at the end of the day, if I don't get up and work, and that computer that I've got over there doesn't make any money, or that tractor, or that ute doesn't make any money, it's on my shoulders, yeah? I haven't transferred the debt to anyone else. It's me, yeah? So I call it a self-grinding asset. And typically these assets depreciate in value. So you're going to buy a car, for example, 50 grand, in 3 or 5 years' time, you will get 20 grand for it. But why is it that people feel comfortable doing this? Probably because they're driving new cars every couple of years. Or, I'm picking on cars. But just understand that it's like climbing a slippery wall. If you put the same money, if I said to a lot of my clients, $700 a month, come on, let's go and put it into a cash flow asset. Property, they'll say, no way, that's too risky. But then next week I'm speaking to them and they'll say, I've just bought a new ute. Guess what? It's usually $750 a month. So do you understand the distinction I'm trying to make? That one will appreciate in value and one will depreciate in value. This one will give you cash flow, you transfer the debt to someone else. You throw the monkey on someone else's back. And hopefully it will appreciate in value. A lot of people will argue with me about properties in, say, Shepparton and Merkin. So it's got to be the right. Okay, how we go? So just going back to that phase, I said this to a lady the other day, and she said, does that mean I'm over the hill? I said, no, that's not what I'm referring to at all. I believe we have two phases in life. We have the accumulation phase, and we have the spending phase. Now, it's different for everyone. That age is different for everyone. I'm talking about retirement in too much tonight, but it's only to prove a point. It could be 70. God bless my pops, he was 92 and still hadn't hit that green line. So it could be different for everyone. But the point I'm trying to make is in this phase, you need to take risk, you need to rely on capital growth, you need to follow those rules of money that I explained to you before, and you need to provide 10 to 30, just put it down as a median, 10 to 30% of what you earn into cash flow assets. On the other phase, you need to have low risk or no risk, and you need cash flow. Yeah? Because at this stage, you need cash flow. I had a lady, her husband passed away and gifted or willed her $1 million. She came to me and she said, I want to buy 3 properties. And I said, I don't think it's the right thing for you. Because properties, how long is the property plan? It's probably a 10-year plan. Now, what she needed right now was cash flow. How much property doesn't provide you a lot of cash flow. You make money from the growth of the tree growing, not the fruit from the tree. The tree growth is where you make the money. So I said to her, I don't think this is right, because by the time you're 70, your tax write-offs and that, they're not going to be any benefit to you. Anyway, not through me, but she went and bought 2 properties I know of, and she's struggling for cash flow. So this is not stuff I dream up, this is stuff that I see every day. So sometimes, I'm not saying it's not right for everyone, but sometimes property is not right in that second phase. And it could be age 70, like as I said, everyone's different. Now, there is a trade-off between risk and return. So cash, you get a low return because there's low risk, yeah? Next one is fixed interest, you're probably getting 3 or 4%. Property is medium risk. Then you go up to Aussie shares, which have absolutely slaughtered it the last couple of years, and international shares. But the highest risk of all is what? Sorry? Doing nothing. Very good. It's another chocky, but it wasn't the answer I was looking for. Sounds good though, I wish I was there. Anything else? What's the highest risk? Who said business? Oh, you're not chocky.
You're not fair.
You're off the guy. Business. In Australia, 80% of businesses fail within 5 years. Isn't that a scary statistic? 80%. 80%. So, you know what I say to people, isn't it smart to your business, which you're saying you can't afford to take any money out of because you're going to tip it back into the business, or your wage, isn't that putting all your eggs in one basket? So how about we take the risk down from there to something a little bit less risky? I've got no problem with shares. Does that make sense? So if you're in a high risk category, let's lower the risk, spread the risk around. You know, a lot of people will come to me and say, oh, look, I bought the farm next door, waited for the old bastard to drop off the perch, and he's, you know, he's going to square off my block. And I'll say to him, how much more money is that going to put in your pocket? Oh, it's not going to make any more money, but it's going to square the block off nicely. Oh, that's good. If you're an investor, what's the first thing you do when you go to the bank and you give them money? What's the first thing you do? Title? When you give them money in exchange, what do you ask? I'm going to invest this money with you. How much? What's my return on investment? What's my return on my investment? Yeah. So that, as an investor, that's what you've got to ask. The first thing that is rules of money. The first thing you've got to ask is what is my return on investment? So if you're going to put money back in your business, you should be saying what's my return on my investment? Because in my business, I work my 12-hour day. I want a wage, but I also invested millions of dollars. I want a return on that investment. And if it doesn't give me that return, I shy away from it. Before I said the employee, the poor old employee in Australia, the tax system's not too fair in Australia, because if you want to get ahead and go and work that second job, they hit you with a slaughter rate. So, you know, good old Tony, he might get a little bit more out of you, and some people work, you know, that we've heard a lot about the mines. Every second day when they hit that alarm clock, it's for Tony, and Julia before him. So what are they doing to get this tax rate? Because they're hit on the top line. At least the business owner is taxed on the bottom line. So at least we can dance around a bit, massage, and do whatever else that we do. And at the end of the day, that profit line is what you pay tax on. So, but you've got to learn to work the tax system. So if I said to the employees with their $300